Okay. We can kind
Oh,
of just fire through and see.
well, Ty, again, we're live and we may have to fire through, but CG just texted me, so he may, let me see. Just put my toddler to sleep. I'm grabbing a beer and joining soon. All right.
Nice.
I just hit broadcast. All right. So when he comes in, we'll let him join. So, Ty, this is the Brews and Bets UFC 234, off to a smashing start. Why did you tell everybody about your flight home from Vegas? You were at the press conference.
Yeah, so the press conference went on pretty smooth. Ben Askren kind of stole the show. I don't know if you got to check it out much, but
I saw the highlights. I saw his outfit, by the way. It was smashing.
You like those flip flops and the oversized shirt?
Yeah, I love it.
Yeah, no, it went great. It was my first press conference. Didn't really know what to expect going in. Had a great time. And then I was just telling you that the flight home was terrible. We hit turbulence pretty much the whole way. I guess there was a storm over the Rocky Mountains. The flight attendants didn't even pass out drinks or food or anything. And then the guy behind me was throwing up the whole time. So I kind of caught the flu and feel like shit now.
Yeah, you look great though. The beard is really coming in pretty well. But
appreciate it.
Other than that, again, Ty is doing some work with the MMA India, who I usually do some stuff for. He's going to do some West Coast stuff with MMA India. So he was able to do his first press conference. And is there a card that you're committed to covering at this point?
Yeah, I'm actually going to fly down on March 1st and cover the UFC 235. And I'll be down there for that.
Okay. I plan on being in Philly. The card that's coming up, I think it's in April. I want to say the end of March.
I think be right around. I think it's March 30th.
Okay, so March 30th.
Yeah.
So I plan on driving down to Philly and covering that one. I'm hoping they come back to Atlantic City, although I haven't seen anything. And my wife and I actually talked about going down to Miami, so I may be going to the UFC card in Miami. Nice. I'm hoping to get down there. So yeah, we're very busy with that. I guess we're kind of stalling a little bit to see if CG gets on here, so we don't have to redo fights. But any overall thoughts about this card? Again, we're just talking about brews and bets here, so we're just talking about bets on this UFC card. I've already made a few. I don't think I've told you any of them. But anything that you like before we get into the main card with CG?
When looking over this card is kind of underrated from the standpoint that I think there's a lot of good fights that there could be some potential upsets. And, I kind of want to get your read on some of the fights, but, just initially briefly going through it, there's a lot of fights that I'm kind of excited for on this card. And, my boy Jonathan Martinez is fighting.
You beat me to it. I was about to say, how excited are you about Jonathan Martinez getting upset the first fight of the night?
Man, I don't know why he's fighting at 135 again.
Is it me? Just tell me if it's me or not. But do you believe that that fight is going to play out very similarly to his last fight? I feel like Bjorn is a very similar fighter.
He's going to wrestle him, and I don't think Bjorn has the potential for stoppage that Sukumtat had. But
yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah, I just think that he's going to come in the bigger fighter, and he's going to be stronger, and it's going to be really hard for Martinez to keep this fight standing. And I think if it stays standing, though, Martinez will box him up. But I just think that he's going to come in so much undersized in this fight.
Well, again, since we're waiting for CG, maybe we could talk about some of these undercard fights and then get to the main card once he gets here.
Before we talk about that, I actually want to talk that I just got signed on to start up the mixed martial arts for my prize picks. And we have a partnership with them also. If you use the code Brews, you get a free game for $50 and 100% deposit bonus. And I'm actually the one that's doing the mixed martial arts projections. So if you need another place to play other than DraftKings, come check it out. You might as well check it out. The first game is free. It's on the house.
Now, Ty, the only issue with that is it's not in Jersey yet.
Yeah, I've seen that.
Yeah, they told me. I don't know if you were in on that DM, but they DM'd me back. I don't know if it was the one where they DM'd me back or if you were in on that one. But yeah, they're not in Jersey yet. They plan on getting here soon, but the license is pretty expensive, from what
Yeah,
they said.
yeah. Hopefully, eventually they get into it. But I know that most other states they're in currently.
Yeah.
And
So,
it's kind of a unique concept. You pick over or under the projection. So if you think that my projection is either bad or good, you could go over or under it, and kind of just try to make some money on a different type of fantasy game for mixed martial arts.
now you can just pick each fight individually.
So the way that you do it is we'll have a list of fighters with my projection for it, and say like for Jonathan Martinez, if I have 60 points or whatever as his projection, if you think he's going to win by a first round stoppage or go over 60 points, you would choose the over, and you kind of it's kind of like a prop fantasy bet that's a parlay, and pretty much if you choose two of them correctly, so you could choose up to four. You choose two, 3, or 4 fighters over or under my projection. If you go 2 for 2, I think you get 2.5 to 1 odds. If you do a 3 for 3, it's 5 to 1, and 4 for 4 is 10 to 1. So it's just something a little bit different than DraftKings, and a way to get more fantasy action on the.
But it's not the entire card. It's not going to be all 24 fighters.
No, so the way that we have it is we'll do pretty much one fighter from each fight. So you could have action on every single fighter. You could have action on every single fighter, but it's just you can only choose one fighter per fight. You can't have action on both sides.
All right, Ty, give me a minute. I gotta send CJ the link. Try to get him in here. So Ty, any other fights that you like here on this undercard?
I think that I'm never a big fan of Lando Venata, but I actually really like him in this spot. I don't really understand why Marcos Rosa is in the UFC. He's just really not a good fighter, and I'm really not a Venata fan at all. But I think this is a spot where I might have action on him. I don't really love the line at minus 390 right now, but if he decides to brawl it out, it could be risky. But in reality, he should have no problem, especially if he takes this fight to the ground. Rosa's terrible on the ground.
Yeah, no, let me just do this real quick. Okay, I think he's getting in. I don't know. He said the link wasn't working. I'll be honest with you. On this entire card, I got 1, 2, 3. I got 3 fights that I think are up in the air. I think 9 fights, it's like a slam dunk who's going to win the fight.
Yeah, so I was actually getting information together for the spreadsheet that we do for the Quant Edge, and one of the, along with my projections, I highlight all the odds for the fights and their odds to finish. There he is. There's 5.
I'm sorry, Chris. CJ, we're like in the middle of a conversation about the spreadsheet. But let me cut you off there. Let's introduce CJ to the podcast. We really didn't get much into fights. CJ, how's it going? Uh-oh. He just froze. Ty, you there?
Yeah, I'm there.
Uh-oh, he froze. All right, so Ty, go ahead. The spreadsheet?
Yeah, so no, I was getting my information together for the spreadsheet, and one of the things I highlight other than my projection is the odds and the odds to finish. And there's actually 5 fighters on this card currently that have odds better than or odds under even money to finish, which is kind of unique for a card. I think last week there was nobody that was under even money to finish.
Last week I feel like I did not go with my gut, but I also feel like I had no idea who, you know what I mean? Like I didn't have a great feel for the card overall. And I think we kind of projected that on our Quan Edge podcast. Obviously, we didn't do a Brews and Bets with the Super Bowl coming up, but I just feel like everything. I mean, I'm not going to be surprised by this card. I think there's just so many fights. I've already bet 5 fights, and that's how confident I am, and I can go through it because a lot of them are on the undercard. But I just feel like the mismatches, like you just mentioned, Lando Venata. I mean, this guy Marcos Mariano, yeah, he's a very good striker, but he's 6-4 as an MMA fighter, and he has no ground game at all. I mean, I don't know if Lando Venata is going to want to take him to the ground. It's not really his cup of tea. It's not really where he goes. But if you want to play the Venata sub prop at plus 380, this guy has no ground game at all, and Venata is a very well-rounded fighter. So again, if you want to throw something out on a plus 380 prop where there's just a big disparity in skill level, that's something that I think you can play. First prop in the night, I was going to throw this out there when I actually already bet it. I already bet Buren plus 250 by decision because of everything that you just said is what I saw. And I think that Buren's going to win the fight, and I think he's going to win by decision. I don't think he has the knockout ability. And again, if you're telling me that Martinez was able to last fight and didn't get knocked out, I think Buren does have a big overhand right that he'll throw, but he doesn't really knock people out. We haven't seen it yet, so it's more or less prove it. But I think that he can use his wrestling to a decision, plus 250 on a Buren decision where he's going to be the bigger guy.
Yeah, and realistically, that's his only way to win this fight. So instead of taking plus 140 on him, you might as well get the extra value because either he's going to win a decision or Martinez is going to keep it standing and he's going to piece him up and pick him apart, or he could potentially get a submission with his chain jiu-jitsu game.
Yeah, 100%.
But as far if you're siding with Buren, realistically, his only option is to win by a decision.
CJ, you here? You live?
I am here. I'm ready to go. What's going on? It's been way too long.
Bro, way too long. I can't believe your kids pulled your plug on you. They wouldn't even let you get on?
Jesus Christ, dude. 2 under 2. I'm a fucking idiot. What was I thinking? This is the first time in, I don't know, months that I've been able to get online, chat with people about fights. This is fantastic. Cracked a beer. What are you guys drinking?
I got a little Michelob Ultra. I don't know if you know this, but Ty and I actually had a weight loss contest last month, and I lost miserably. All right, so I paid him his $100, but on top of it, Michelob Ultra only has 2.6 carbs and 95 calories.
I was gonna say, there's got to be a good reason you're drinking Mick Ultra.
Yeah, I'm trying to stay to the keto diet right now. So this is the beer of choice for the keto diet.
Yeah. So tell him how many pounds did you lose last month?
Can we keep it to UFC fighting, please? I mean, this guy grows a beard and he grows an extra pair all of a sudden. He wants to throw everybody under the bus. I told him did I or did I not pay you?
No, yeah, you did.
Okay, so let's just leave it at that. I paid you.
It all went on the Patriots, so I even doubled that up.
Listen, I don't think I told you this. I won $4,000 on the Super Bowl.
Holy shit.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if you guys listened to the Brews and Bets Super Bowl podcast, but I basically gave all the bets out, and every one of them hit. I took that there would be a receiver to catch over 100 yards. That was minus 160. I had 1,000 on that, hit it. And then I had Edelman over 125 yards at plus 350 for a $500 and hit that one. Had the Patriots, had Sony Michel first touchdown. I don't know if you saw, but DraftKings actually did. They do the boosted bets. Actually, you guys aren't in Jersey, so you wouldn't know this. But in Jersey, DraftKings puts out boosted bets. They put basically a boosted bet a day leading up to the Super Bowl, and they gave Sony Michel plus 800 odds
for a first touchdown.
For first touchdown. So I had like $75 on that. Yeah, in general, I walked away with like $4,000.
So me, my girlfriend, and my parents are sitting in the VIP party at the South Point, right? And my girlfriend's favorite player in football is Edelman, and so she was asking me if she should put $50 on him to win MVP. And
would have been a great bet.
no, so he's 25-1, right? And I was
Right.
well, shit, you know, if you want some action, go ahead. That's your guy. Go do it. She didn't want to risk the $50.
Oh boy.
After the game, she was so pissed off.
My buddy, who I actually did the podcast with,
Yeah.
put $100 on Edelman MVP. That he won pretty big too.
Damn.
Yeah, it was amazing. Literally, like I think I put 8 bets and I won 6 of them. It was ridiculous. DraftKings had another one. What was it? Gronk to score the first touchdown and the Patriots to win, which I actually would have won if Gronk didn't fall at the 2-yard line.
He was 2 yards away.
Right, I would have won that one, and then I would have lost the Michelle bet. So I definitely won one of those. So yeah, it was a good Sunday. It was a good Super Bowl. I thought it was the greatest Super Bowl ever. Everybody else hated it. But.
Yeah, I pretty much just put money on the Patriots to win on the money line, and then earlier that morning I put $50 on Kawhi Leonard to score more points than the Rams.
Well, you won that one.
No, but he did terrible, and so I advised my dad to take the same thing. So we're sitting there he had a big chunk of money on it. I just had $50, and Kawhi only scored 18 points. And I was like, well, I think this is going to be a low-scoring game anyway, so I think we're good. And then after halftime, I was like, oh, yeah, we got this.
Well, listen, we need to talk some fights because I just had back-to-school night with parents all night, so I'm drinking beer. I have a salad waiting for me, haven't eaten dinner. So let's pick some winners here. So, CG, I'll throw it out to you. We usually go through the main card pretty heavy. Is there anybody on the undercard that you really like? We were just talking about – I already bet the first fight of the night, Buren, by decision plus 250.
Oh, wow.
And the other fight that Ty said he likes is Venata, and I actually said with Marcos Mariano, his ground game being so bad, I wouldn't mind throwing a little stab at Venata sub prop at plus 380. There's a couple other plays, but I figured let everybody hear your voice, your UFC voice for a change.
Yeah, so I am big on Venata in this fight too, even though the guy always screws me over. I think this is the fight where he gets back in the winning column. And I actually just placed a high-risk, high-reward prop parlay bet. Do you want to know the fights that effect?
CJ, I do. And I also want – what was the prop that you threw out there on one of our last one? Remember that sub prop?
Calderwood.
Calderwood, right? What did that pay off? Like plus 800 or something?
It was plus 670, I think.
670, and he hit that one, yeah. And I didn't play it.
So this is what I got right now: $50 to win 2,400. I have Gastelum winning inside the distance plus 320. I have Silva Adesanya going the 3-round distance for plus 160. I have LV Crute finishing in the inside the distance. Then I have Kim and Smith fight ending inside the distance, and then I have Venata winning inside the distance as well. So I just honestly, I'm pretty confident in all those bets. I know, the odds are against me, but $50 with the chance to win 2,400. I mean, I think, yeah.
So I don't know if we're gonna go through the fights one by one, but what are you seeing in Gastelum? Just curious.
Okay, so.
All right, hold on. I'm going to go grab another beer, but I will be back.
I just think that Gastelum, it's going to be a stand-up fight, right? So yeah. I don't foresee Whittaker trying to take down Gastelum. Gastelum doesn't have the best takedown defense. I think it's going to be a boxing match, and I think Gastelum is the more explosive fighter, or more explosive striker at least. He has more power than Whittaker. Honestly, I see Gastelum finishing this fight. Okay. I don't know. Well, I think the line is way off. I don't understand it. Yeah, I mean, look at Gastelum's last loss was to Weidman. Weidman took him down, submitted him. What was his last loss before that? I would have to check. I want to say, was it Tyron Woodley?
Yeah, it might be, but he had a flu going into that fight also. Gastelum did.
Gastelum did. I saw. Yeah. That's my thing. I mean, he really only loses to grapplers. He doesn't. When's the last time he lost a stand-up fight?
Yeah,
lost to Neil Magny before that. I just think he's the more powerful striker. He's got knockout power. When's the last time Whittaker knocked anybody out? Was it Brad Tavares? Oh no, I'm sorry, it's Jacare. Yeah. But Jacare
Derek Brunson.
Oh yeah, okay.
Yeah, I mean, I wasn't hating on it. I was just trying to see the
I don't hate on it at all. Again, I'm not going to give DFS picks out right now because we get paid to do that by the Quant Edge. But I kind of do like Gastelum. I haven't put a play on it. I really just want to watch the fight. To be honest with you, I don't want to bet it. But I'm hoping that I just collect all my money before that fight, and then I could just enjoy that fight. That's what I'm looking to do. But I don't hate that at all. I was thinking when you first said it, the one risky one was the Silva Adesanya. I'm personally staying away from it because I just don't know what's going to happen. And again, today I watched the Silva Brunson fight, and I was actually at that fight. That was in Brooklyn, and again, we're sitting there in the arena all thinking, what is Derek Brunson doing? Is Adesanya going to play it cool and do his little Derek Brunson, or is he going to actually fight Anderson Silva here? What's going to happen in that fight?
Right. So
I don't know.
I think it's going to be a very cerebral fight. They're going to both be very technical. They're going to try to pick their shots, but I don't foresee Adesanya finishing Silva. Last person to finish Silva was Weidman, right? Back in what was that? 2013.
Yeah, back to back. Well, he had the broken foot in that one.
Yeah. So I mean, Silva, he's 43 years old. I don't think he's going to win the fight, but I don't think he's going to get finished. So I think Adesanya is going to win a striking-based decision. I don't like it at all from a DraftKings perspective. But, I mean, yeah, Adesanya, I think he's going to win, but he won't finish. So I like that bet. And then Crute and Sam Alvey, too. I'm very interested in that fight because I think, Crute is, 22, 23 years old.
23, I think, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, he's very raw and he's very sloppy, and sloppy fighters do not do well against Sam Alvey. And Sam Alvey, very risky. He's a wild card. You never know what you're going to get, but I'll tell you what, you don't want to be sloppy with Sam Alvey. You walk up with your hands down, and you're going to get pieced up like he knocked out Prachnio. So I can see that fight going in a very similar fashion.
So CG, when he says sloppy, I think what he means is that Jim Crute steps in heavy with his left foot every time he throws that left hook, because he leads with a left hook or he leads with like a big power right.
Yeah.
So every time he does that, I could just see a Sam Alvey left hand hitting him on the chin.
Right. I agree.
I hate to say it, but it's exactly, Chris, we always agree. I don't know what it is. Ty and I are the ones that disagree. So Ty, what are you thinking here? Crute and Sam Alvey?
I'm kind of leaning towards Crute winning the fight. Alvey's last performance versus Nogueira, and it could be because that fight lost me a lot of money, but for some reason I'm just not seeing Alvey as I'm kind of seeing him as on the downswing, and it very well could be that I have a bad taste in my mouth because I think I was in line for a qualifier or something or a big payday, and Alvey got knocked out versus Nogueira. I just think that his chin is a little bit shaky right now. I'm liking Crute. I don't know if I like him enough to put a bet on him though. When you
look at Jim Crute though, he's 9 wins, 3 TKOs, 3 subs, 3 decisions.
Yeah.
I think he's mainly known for his jiu-jitsu, but Sam Alvey has deceptively good takedown defense. And if the fight remains standing, I think Alvey definitely has the edge. So I think he's 7,900 on DraftKings, so I like him there as well, just in GPP.
I wrote this down today. Let me get it. It's in my notes. Again, we're not doing DraftKings, so I didn't bring my notes out. But Sam Alvey has 85% takedown defense.
Nice. So I think it's a terrible matchup for Crute. I mean,
this is, and again, I'll even build on what CG is saying right now. Nogueira and Alvey, I actually watched that fight again yesterday. And they just kind of looked at each other. It's very similar to what Anderson Silva and Derek Brunson did. They just kind of looked at each other. They're both counter strikers. Jim Crute is going to lead this dance, and that's the problem. When he leads the dance and he closes the distance, he drops his hands to throw his left hook when he leads, and he drops his hands to throw his right lead, and that's kind of what plays into Sam Alvey's hands. He needs you to lead so that he can counter. He just kind of leans back and throws a big heavy left hook. Or left straight right to your chin. That's what I think Sam Alvey's at his best. So again, in terms of the matchups here, I think it's a close fight. I think it's lined properly. but I think Sam Alvey is in a great position at his price to get a knockout. And again, if you're going to play Alvey, I'm pretty sure you want to play it by finish, by KO, TKO. Don't just play the plus 115. He isn't winning a decision. If he wins, he's going to win the knockout.
Right.
Yeah, and you guys are probably talking me into him. I think honestly the reason why I'm kind of sour on Alvey is because he did get knocked out versus Nogueira and lost me a lot of money, and so I was planning on staying away, but I mean I see what you guys are saying on it, and I might.
And Ty, you know what?
Play.
Even take it at the next step. Nogueira and Alvey looked at each other. Yeah. Alvey was able to hurt him late in that first round, and then he never really closed the distance and went after him.
Yeah,
he hurt him and then just looked at him. I was like, well, Alvey, what are you doing? Go in for the finish and try to put him away. But he obviously let Nogueira stay in the fight. Then Nogueira caught him in round 2.
Yeah.
But I think we talked about Crute Alvey enough. So let's go. Whittaker, Gastelum. I went to go get a beer. Are you guys done with that?
Yeah, for the most part, I just like Gastelum in this spot. I think it's going to be primarily a striking contest. I mean, there's no data to suggest it's going to be anything other than a striking contest. And although Whittaker is more versatile, changes things up with his kicks, better movement, Gastelum just has way more power. And I just foresee a Gastelum knockout. That's why I love that Gastelum line in the inside the distance. I think it's plus 325. I said. So yeah, I mean the line's way off right now. Whittaker's minus 245. Gastelum's tough. Gastelum has never been knocked out. I don't know. I see him hitting Whittaker with that straight left.
Yeah, and I don't really hate that, but when I think of Gastelum by knockout, I look back at the Whittaker fights with Romero, and he got hit with some bombs and I mean, he got rocked, but his recovery time was so quick that I don't know if Gastelum's going to be able to finish that. And I mean, he very well could. He does have a ton of power, and I'm totally on board with that. It's just if Romero wasn't going to knock him out with some of the shots that he hit him with, I just don't know if he's going to be stopped in this.
But that's the thing, though. I mean, we've seen Whittaker get rocked. We've seen him get knocked out by Wonder Boy. Yeah. I can't even recall Gastelum ever really even getting rocked. He's just tough. He's durable. And God, he's fast, deceptively fast. You see him, he's like 5'9", just looks like a short, fat dude out of shape, but he has cardio. He's explosive, very dynamic. I love him in the spot. I really do. And another thing about Gastelum, the guy's just not afraid to go to enemy territory to fight. He's been to Brazil, beat Vitor Belfort.
Yeah, that no contest, that nonsense, no contest.
Right, yeah. So, I mean, the guy just doesn't get frazzled.
I think not enough people are actually talking about this, but again, Whittaker, this fight should have been sooner than this, right? Whittaker's the one that was injured. He's coming back from injury. Gastelum has had plenty of time to get himself ready, improve wherever he thinks he needed improvements. Whittaker's coming back from injury, and again, in those fights against Romero, he basically had an injury and got injured in both of those fights. So again, is Romero known for his gas tank? No. I think Gastelum, who isn't really cutting all that much weight, I don't think. Basically, the fact that he's fighting at 185, he used to fight at 170, so the weight cut's a lot easier. I think he's going to have a better gas tank. But we all know Romero basically, almost doesn't make weight right. That's the big concern for all of his fights at 185. That's why he's at 205 now. And I think Gastelum has just as much power. And again, he's a counter puncher. So if Whittaker's going to lead the dance, it's just, to me, it's just a different fight in terms of their styles. I think Gastelum, again, I don't want to give anything away. We get paid for this by the Quan Edge. Use code UFC if you want to sign up for some DFS content. But I kind of like Gastelum, at his price. Adesanya, again, I don't disagree. I looked at the Anderson Silva fight versus Derek Brunson, a very weird fight. These guys just kind of looked at each other. Adesanya is a counterpuncher. Anderson Silva is a counterpuncher. Who's going to lead the dance there? And the fact that I don't know, I understand why you're saying 3 rounds. I do get that. And again, CJ, you can talk DraftKings if you want, but I'm not going to touch that. Let's go to the next one. Ronnie Yaya and Ricky Simone. Ty, what do you think about this one? Any bets there?
I'll start with this one. I actually love this fight. I think that Ricky Simone is in a perfect spot here. I'm a big fan of Ronnie Yaya from his jiu-jitsu career, and I just think he's great on the ground. But this is a bad spot for him. Ricky Simone, he's a wrestler that could also box, and Yaya is going to have a hard time getting him to the ground. Simone's going to keep this fight standing, and he'll be able to just do whatever he wants on the feet. Yaya's terrible on the feet.
Yeah, I agree. CG.
I was going back and forth on this fight. I've had a lot of luck with Hani Yaya in his last 3 fights. 3 submissions, but this is going to be a much tougher matchup for him. I think Ricky Simone's going to have better submission defense. Ricky Simone has a wrestling background, so I think Yaya is going to have more difficulties getting the fight to the ground. So, plus Yaya traditionally has shitty cardio. Simone can easily go all 3 rounds, fight at a high pace. That fight against Philly, I mean, talk about a high-paced fight. It doesn't get any more, crazy than that. And he was able to weather the storm.
For that, yeah,
weathered the storm, overcame some adversity, and came away with the W. So I do like Ricky Simone in this fight. I think, it's tough for me to have a lot of exposure to it from a DraftKings perspective, just because Yaya can end the fight at any time with the sub. I just don't think it's going to happen. I see this fight going very similarly to the Yaya Joe Soto fight, where Soto just kind of defends the takedowns, defends the submissions. Yaya gasses out, and Simone probably is going to come away with maybe a 30-27, 29-28. I don't think he's going to finish Yaya, but I think he's going to win by decision.
I think that's exactly what I struggled with. How does Yaya's gas tank, how does it stand up? And is Simone gonna basically put the pace that he normally puts on versus Yaya? Because that's what's dangerous. If he puts his normal pace on and goes for the clinch work and goes for the takedowns, that plays into Yaya's hands. So again, how does Yaya get it to the ground? He may not need to get it to the ground if Ricky Simone is the one who's taking him down. He'll be on the ground. He'll just be on his back. So again, if Ricky Simone's going to go with that takedown game that he usually employs and employed against Montel Jackson, then he could play right into Yaya's hands, which is why what Ty just said, if Simone keeps it on the feet, he can just piece him up and CG, what you just said, kind of just push him off like that Joe Soto fight. So it's going to go one of 2 ways. How is Ricky Simone going to basically, empty that gas tank of Yaya's? Because once he empties that gas tank, I kind of think he can get a late finish. I think he can get a late round 2, late round 3, because I just don't think Yaya is gonna be able to go through. Plus, everyone talks about Yaya's last 3 fights. Like it's impressive to look at, but look at the level of competition in those last 3 fights also.
That's true.
I don't think it's the highest level. And again, Ricky Simone is fighting Montel Jackson. Look what he just did to Brian Kelleher.
Yeah.
And I mean, the guy is I think he's going to be a force to be reckoned with. And then his other opponent is Merab, who I have a very high opinion. I was ringside for that fight. I still think Merab won that fight. I don't even know how they gave it to Simon, to be honest with you. And Merab basically, it's nonstop energy. And Ricky Simon lasted and was able to get that submission within the last minute of that fight. So I think Simon just has to empty Yaya's gas tank, and then he could probably get a finish. Any of you guys on Nadia Kassem?
I am.
Are you really?
Yeah. I'm not sold on De La Rosa being a high level fighter. I mean, her wins in the UFC have come versus Marks and Ostovich, which I don't really think are UFC caliber. I don't know how you feel about Ostovich after her last performance, but it's like I was saying in the lead up to that fight, I just don't think that she's UFC level. I think that she has a lot of fanfare because of her looks or whatever. I don't know. I just think that Kassem is a up and coming prospect, and I know she didn't show very well versus Chambers, but before that she was 4-0. I think she had 4 knockouts coming in. I just think that this could be her coming out showing, and I don't know. It might be a hunch, but I just think that this fight's going to be standing. I think that she's the better stand-up fighter.
Chris, I'm going to throw it to you before I completely turn the tables on what Ty just said. Go ahead.
So honestly, no comment from me. I'm going to have no exposure to this fight from a DraftKings perspective or just a straight line betting perspective. I really don't know. I mean, I just don't have a dog in that fight.
All right, so Ty, I'm completely on the opposite side. I think Montana. I already bet it. I put it in terms of a parlay, and I'm even considering betting De La Rosa by sub at plus 160.
Oh,
I think Gastelum's terrible. If you look at her opponents in those 4 fights that she knocked them out, one of the opponents is 0-3. One of them, I believe, is 0-5. Like, I don't know if these girls have ever fought before. Plus, Gastelum fought them at 125. Her first fight against Alex Chambers, if you watch the first round versus Alex Chambers actually threw her around at 115 pounds. Montana De La Rosa has her everywhere in terms of height, reach, and weight. She's a natural 125. I think she's going to use her boxing. She's going to use her jab. She was a high school wrestling champ. I think she's going to use her wrestling. And then again, if she gets down to the ground, I think she's going to be able to submit Gastelum, and I think that's going to be the path of least resistance. Gastelum throws up these like desperation subs. That's what she did against Chambers. I love Montana De La Rosa. She's actually, again, I don't want to talk DraftKings, but she is a very confident play in all formats. I'm betting her. I'm putting sub prop on her, and I also like her in parlays.
Okay, so just a little background for that Alex Chambers fight. The fight was at 115. Gastelum had trouble making weight. She had a horrible weight cut, and
she weighed in 120. That's true.
She missed weight by 5 pounds. So I think that she was drained coming into that fight. So I would be careful how you judge that fight, just from the perspective on how she looked. And I understand that the performances that she had before was versus lesser competition, but all those fights were over within a minute. And she's fighting Montana De La Rosa, who she hasn't fought really great competition either. Her best win is versus Rachel Ostovich, which, yeah, it might be better than Gastelum's opponents prior to, but it's really not saying a lot. And you're giving up pretty bad odds on this fight in putting stock into that win. And
I don't know.
I mean, at plus 215, I think that Gastelum is a decent play, and I wouldn't be surprised if she knocks her out.
The James Lynch interview, Gastelum basically said she's coming back from a back injury and she's still recovering.
Yeah, she's got injured before her last 2 fights. Actually, she got injured before the Chambers fight also. But just for some perspective, if you think that Gastelum is going to win, by knockout, you're getting plus 950 right now. And I mean, all of her wins prior to the Chambers fight have come by knockout. So, I think that if you're going to hedge that's a nice hedge right there by knockout.
What
you guys have me thinking about this fight. Nice sales pitch on De La Rosa, by the way. I'm looking at her on Sherdog right now.
I do my homework. I do my homework.
She went 3 rounds with Calvillo. Calvillo's a beast.
But everybody that she's fought that has had a winning record, besides Ostovich, who was 4-3, she's lost to.
Listen, I gave you my sales pitch. That's just what I think. I'm just telling you what I think. Let's put it this way too. De La Rosa is how old?
She's what? She's 23 years old.
She's 23 years old.
Yeah.
Gastelum is 23 years old, coming off an injury, and has fought no one. De La Rosa fought those girls that you just mentioned, the girls that are better than her, at what, 21, 22 years old? She was in Tough season 26, right? I believe.
Yeah, she fought Mackenzie Dern and Calvillo in LFA though.
But again, you're talking about Mackenzie Dern, who submitted her, I believe, round 1. We all know who Mackenzie Dern is.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And then again, Calvillo, we know who Calvillo is. And again, you're talking about someone who's fought these people. She's now 23 years old. And her husband, in addition, is a black belt BJJ. She was a state champ, multiple time state champ, I believe, wrestler. And she has one of the best boxing coaches, on the West Coast. I'm just telling you, I already bet her. I love her. I think she's going to win. I think she's going to make me money. Where does the main card start? I'm trying to figure that out. I think we talked about the top 5 fights.
Who has one of the best boxing coaches? De La Rosa?
De La Rosa, yeah.
But doesn't she train at Team Takedown in Texas?
She does, yes.
Who's her boxing coach?
She goes to. Let me see if I wrote it down. I don't want to say something that I'm not 100% positive with.
Yeah, I'm not disagreeing. I just honestly don't know. Because in one thing that's appealing for me with Gastelum too is now she won't be having to do this weight cut, and I think that she's going to carry a lot more power up to the 125 division because she's not really much smaller than De La Rosa.
I don't know. I'm trying to think now who the coach was. Is it Portillo? Jason Portillo?
Perillo from
Perillo?
He's in California, so I think
he's down in
De La
LA.
Rosa. Yeah, De La Rosa trains in Texas, right?
No, she does. She has a boxing coach. I forget who it was. It was on the telecast. It was on the fight that I watched, and he was cage side with her. And I knew the name, and I can't remember it now. I didn't write it down.
So Are you betting De La Rosa by submission?
I haven't bet that yet, but I wrote it down and I'm considering it. It was when I wrote it down, it was sub prop was plus 160. What I did bet was the prop, her straight. I parlayed her.
Rosa inside the distance is plus 135. Man, I didn't realize it was that good. You could be onto something here because I can't foresee her being highly owned on DraftKings. So you might make me some money this weekend.
Listen, I can't talk DraftKings.
Okay.
We can talk.
I'll stop bringing it up.
I'll DM you. You know what, CG? Since you're on the podcast this week, when Ty and I do this DraftKings podcast, Ty, we're doing it tomorrow?
We could.
Yeah, so if we do it tomorrow, I'll send it to you. It'll be free on me this week.
Appreciate that.
But you can hear the guys that I'm on, and I am not going to tip my hand after that. So let's go to this next fight.
I appreciate the respect because lately I just feel like I'm getting pissed on, shit on, puked on. So I appreciate it, Steve.
Well, not by us. I mean, that's exactly by your own doing. That's by your own doing. While we're here, we might as well just break down the rest of this card. Devontae Smith. Anybody on Dong Hyung Kim, who is now Dong Hyung Ma?
Yeah, that kind of confused me when I was looking at the two different things. I did a double take thinking it was two different fighters, but I think Devontae Smith is going to stop him in this fight.
Yeah, that's the other part of my parlay. Actually, go ahead.
I love this. This is one of the fights that I bet on the parlay. I love this fight ending inside the distance because I think what's going to happen is Devontae Smith, who's super explosive, powerful. He's either going to knock out Kim early on, first 2 rounds. If he doesn't, if Kim's able to get the fight to the ground, then I just think he's going to pound out Smith because as good as Smith looked at his last fight, I guess was against fucking Juliana Rosa. But let's not forget, Devontae Smith lost to John Gunther, for Christ's sake. So it's going to go one of 2 ways. Smith by knockout or Kim by ground and pound.
CG, you're not telling me that Dong Hyung Kim or Ma has the chin of John Gunther. Did you see the shot that Devontae Smith hit John Gunther with?
Oh, yeah.
Did you watch the fight? I mean, there's no reason
I did watch the fight, but yeah, I mean.
There's no reason that he lasted and that he should have been done.
Yeah, Kim's been knocked out a couple times, right? He's been knocked out by Reyes, knocked out by Dominique's, Steele, but that was like a power bomb or something, right? It was like a WWE move. But regardless, Kim has a history of getting knocked out. But I think Smith is going to win, and he should win early. But I mean, if Kim can score some takedowns, he's got some, decent control from top position. And I mean, still, I mean, there's really not too many excuses to lose to John Gunther. Let's be honest. I think everybody on this podcast right now could beat John Gunther in a boxing match. Strictly boxing.
I'm going to be honest with you. I trust you guys doing that. I don't know if I could. You got to remember, I'm a basketball guy. I'm not.
His striking was so bad on Tough. Oh, man.
Listen, all I'm going to tell you is Devontae Smith's speed with his hands is just –
it's impressive.
It's sick. All right, so we got through that one. Austin Arnett, Shane Young. Ty, you want to take that one?
Oh, man, you know that I'm not a fan of Austin Arnett at all. But it seems like every time I go against him, he pulls an upset or some shit. Shane Young should win this fight. I'm going to stay away from it because I think Arnett's a terrible fighter, but for some reason he likes to prove me wrong every time I go against him.
CG, are you an Arnett fan?
I actually think this line's off. I think Shane Young should win the fight. I mean, Shane Young went the distance with Volkanovski, which is extremely impressive. But, I mean, when you look at Austin Arnett, he's a tough son of a bitch. He went, 2 or 3 rounds with Sandhagen, and Sandhagen looks fantastic. Then he went the distance with Dawadu and was a big underdog in his last fight, beat Bondone. I don't know if Arnett's going to win the fight, but I think it's going to be pretty damn close. I don't like Shane Young at minus 325. Hell no. I think the line should be much closer.
I agree 100% there.
Yeah.
Damn, I disagree with both of you guys.
Really?
Yeah, I love Shane Young here. And I'll even go a step further. If you watch the first round of Bondone was totally destroying Austin Arnett, and he just completely gassed. Shane Young will not gas.
Well, that's the thing. Everybody's destroying Austin Arnett, but he just hangs around.
He's tough.
But again, who has he hung around and beat? The only one he hung around and beat was Bondone. And Bondone, if you watch, Bondone could not even lift his arms or his legs to throw a strike in round 3. I'm actually surprised Austin Arnett didn't finish the fight.
Shane Young, I mean, who did he beat in this last fight? Rolando D. He's terrible.
No, he is.
Terrible. And he beat Buren, so I don't know about that.
But again, Buren's a 135er. Rolando D was a 145er.
Okay.
All I'm saying is Shane Young did take down Volkanovski.
Yeah, and he's got good output. I don't know what his striking volume is, but it's got to be pretty high. He scored like 130, I think, in his last fight on DraftKings. Yeah, I mean,
I'm just telling you, he's got a gas tank that Austin Arnett is not ready for.
Do you like Young to finish the fight, or?
I actually do. I actually like him. KO, TKO is plus 385. I have it written down. I'm very prepared for this podcast, guys. I don't know if you realize this.
You have him winning inside the distance for plus 385?
That's what the line is right now. That's what I wrote down today, unless I wrote the wrong line down. Young, KO, TKO.
Young wins by TKO plus 385. Wow.
I think he's going to get a third
Young
round
wins
stoppage.
Inside the distance plus 177, but by TKO 385. And if he wins, it's going to be by TKO.
I think he's going to pound him out in round 3.
Oh,
Ty's looking at me like I'm crazy right now.
No, I mean,
that one down.
I hope that happens. Just because I don't like Austin Arnett. Ever since he was on the Contender Series, I bet big on Brandon Davis, and somehow they had Arnett favored over Brandon Davis on that.
Was he really favored?
He was minus 200 over Brandon Davis.
Oh my god!
And I cashed out
money right there.
Yeah, I cashed out big because in my breakdown, I just didn't think Arnett was a good fighter. Davis just destroyed him in that fight, and then every single fight since then, like he's hung around, and in my mind, I think that Austin Arnett's terrible. And he just hangs around, and then I lost a lot of money on the Bondone fight. I think I went all in on Bondone.
I was pretty heavy on Bondone. I didn't expect him to gas the way he did, to be honest with you.
Yeah,
but Shane Young just isn't going to gas. Shane Young is also home, right?
Yeah,
this is a home fight for him.
Well, and I personally don't think that Young's going to stop him. I think that it's going to go to a decision, and in that type of fight, I don't want to really lay minus 325. So I'm just gonna stay away, and whatever you're gonna bet, I'll root side by side with you on it.
Yo, I appreciate it, bro. So I'll just tell you my bets. Montana De La Rosa, I have her.
Just on this fight. I'm not gonna go every fight.
Oh, not all. Okay. Well, Devontae Smith, I have him, and Shane Young. Those are three of the people that I parlayed. Two different parlays, and I have another one. But I need another beer. I'm drinking a lot tonight.
Wait, hold on. But before you get this beer, so you have that parlay. The De La Rosa fight's the last one on that parlay. So after you hit the first two legs, you could bet on Kasem to win by knockout and then hedge your bet.
No, but you see that's no. I have two two-way parlays. So I parlayed Young. I actually don't even remember how I parlayed it, but I think I have Young with De La Rosa, and I have Smith with Jalen Turner. Those are the two parlays that I have.
I like that.
Yeah, those are my two parlays. But I'm gonna throw a fight that I have no interest in, so you guys can discuss it while I get my beer. So why don't you guys discuss Ishihara and Kang, because I have no interest in that fight. All right, you have 2 or 3 minutes to discuss. I'll be right back.
Go ahead, Ty.
He left us with one that I don't really care about either. But I mean, Kang should win this fight. Ishihara he's just not been good lately. Yeah. And I mean, I just see any way this fight goes that Kang has the advantage here.
So I actually think this fight is pretty intriguing. Hate to talk DraftKings, but that's what I play primarily.
You can go ahead.
Okay. My preferred play in this matchup is Ishihara. Kang is the better grappler. Ishihara has terrible takedown defense, was taken down like shit, like at least 5 times by Gray Maynard. But look at Kang's wins. His wins are not impressive. He beat, Guido Canetti? Besides that, who has he beat? He lost to Ricardo Ramos in his last fight. Ricardo Ramos is incredibly overrated.
Wait, did he actually lose to Ramos? I believe he beat Ramos.
No, he lost to him.
He lost.
No, but if you watch the fight, I think he actually won the fight.
I thought Kang won too, right?
Yeah.
But still, I mean, his wins are not impressive, bottom line. And I think the line being he's minus 425 right now. If it's a stand-up fight, who wins? Ishihara wins all day.
Yeah. I just don't think he's going to be able to stop Kang from taking him down. He has a 32% takedown defense, and Kang wrestles at a pretty high volume. And I just think that this is going to be a boring fight where Kang just gets to take him down. But if he can stuff a takedown or catch him coming in, Ishihara is by far the better stand-up fighter. I agree with you on that.
Yeah, I just, Kang probably will grind out a decision, but in his King's inside the distance line, minus 104. No, I mean, I'm not betting it, and if I had to play it on DraftKings, like I said, Ishihara, I think has more upside. Ishihara could technically score a knockout in this fight if he can keep it standing, but that means that he would have to stuff some takedowns, which we have no reason to believe that he will do. So,
yeah, I'm on board with that.
And I'm on board with I don't like that fight at all. I think you guys basically I think you both kind of agree with me though. You don't really like the fight. If anything, it's dog or pass, right?
Yeah, I would say so.
All right. So what do you guys think? Ty, I'm gonna throw it to you because I know you've rolled, you're into the BJJ game. Raulian Pava, his sub prop is plus 1150. I don't know if you watched his fight in Dana White Tuesday Night Contender Series. I believe it was season 3 Brazil, or not season 3, episode 3 in Brazil. There was some decent ground game going on in that fight. It actually went to decision, and he got a contract out of it. Kai Kara France fought Elias Garcia in his UFC debut. Elias Garcia is a small guy that's actually Sergio Pettis and Anthony Pettis's cousin, I believe. And Kai Kara France actually scored a ton. He scored like 130 or 140 on DraftKings. So I don't want to talk DraftKings, but he may be popular just because of that number. But can Pava get a sub here?
He's Oh, man, this is tough. I don't really think that he's that great on the ground, to be honest with you. But I think that he's a good, well-rounded fighter. But he gets hit a lot, and that's my main problem in this fight. I think he could try to get this to the ground, but Kai Kara France has really good takedown defense. And standing up, I kind of just think that this is kind of a setup for Kara France to pick him apart. And this fight is at 135 pounds, right?
I have 125 on Tapology.
125. Because I know that Kai Kara France had talked about going up to 135 at some point. Because I think that he thinks that the division is going to go away. Man, I want to take Paiva, but I just think that this is a perfect setup for Kara France to keep this fight standing and just pick him apart. And I don't know if he's going to get the stoppage, but he's gonna hit him with a lot of punches.
I may throw a quarter unit on Paiva sub prop at plus 1150. But CJ, I'm gonna throw.
He's not much of a sub guy though.
No, even after all the way that he rolled around with.
Yeah, but Kara France has really good takedown defense, and I think that that's a little bit discredited. Okay. And if you look back at Paiva's fights, I think that he only has one submission out of his 19 fights.
Yeah, he's 3 TKOs, 3 subs, 12 decisions. Yeah, that fight, that Paiva fight on the Contender Series, how bad was that? Wanted to rip my goddamn eyes out. It was terrible to watch. Oh,
yeah,
man.
and honestly, I wouldn't waste the money on the sub prop. If you're gonna take Paiva, take him by decision, because that's really how he's gonna do it if he wins. But I actually think that he's gonna get boxed up. I think that they put him in with a bad spot, and they're kind of throwing him to the wolves.
Okay, I'm not even gonna disagree with you guys. I actually think that you make more sense than I do right now. All right, so all right, the Ishihara fight is done. Venata, I think we're all on Venata. Anybody like Marcos? CG? I don't know. Did you talk about Venata at all?
Yeah. I like Venata a lot in this fight. Yeah, I bet him inside the distance. I was listening to his interview with James Lynch. It sounds like he moved on from Jackson Wink. I think he's training at the BMF ranch with Cowboy. Seems like he has a decent head on his shoulder right now. And he just signed a brand new 4-fight contract. Mm-hmm. And it seems like a setup fight. So the thing with Venata, I mean, very technical striker, always the upside for a knockout, but it seems like there's always that opportunity to end the fight, and then he lets the opponent back in the fight like he did in his last fight against Frivola, who's a tough son of a bitch, but yeah, I don't think
I was at that fight.
Yeah, very impressive. But I think this is a setup fight. Just signed a new deal. They want to get him back in the win column because when you think about it, why did they re-sign Venata? He had 2 draws, right? He had a draw against Frivola, a draw against Bobby Green.
Yeah, 1-3-1, I believe.
Yeah, only win was against McDessie. They renewed his contract because of his style. He's super exciting. He's fun to watch. His fights are always entertaining.
He's also young. He's only 26 years old.
Yeah, I mean, his fights are fun to watch, and they want him to beat this dude's ass, and I think he's going to score a knockout. So, yeah. All
right, and Ty, I know you're on Venata too, so I think we're all in agreement on Venata. He's actually in one of my parlays also. I put way too many bets on a Tuesday for some reason. I have like 16 bets.
Well, you know why that is because you won on the Super Bowl.
That's what it is. I'm all happy with all this extra money. It's exactly what it is. So the next fight, I'm going to throw it to you guys because I have a pretty strong take on this. But Jalen Turner and Callan Potter. This is basically the last fight, unless CG has something to add on Bjorn, because we already talked about it before he came on. But Jalen Turner and Callan Potter. Ty, let me throw it to you first. Go ahead.
So I think that Jalen Turner has the advantage in this fight. But one thing that I kind of want to address with Kalen Potter is that he's pretty much like the number 3 guy coming out of Australia. He only has 2 really bad losses, and those are to Jake Matthews and
Martin Held.
Yeah, Martin Held, which they're not really. Those aren't terrible losses to. I mean, that's versus top level fighters that are above Jalen Turner. He's taken this fight on really short notice. He's jumping up in weight for the fight. I think there's too many factors going against him, but I think that he is live as an underdog. But I'm siding with Turner, but I'm just not ruling out that Potter could surprise him here.
Now I'm going back and forth in this. I thought this fight was at 155. Is it at 170 or is it at 155? I
thought it was at 155. Yeah, 155. Turner's coming down. His last fight was at 170.
Yeah, but again, Turner's the guy who that was the card in Vegas. I was at that fight too when he fought Luque on short notice and went up to 170. And again, Luque, what is Luque? A top 10 guy? I don't even know where he's ranked.
He's not. He's on the cusp.
Is he? I mean, he should be. In my opinion, he should be a top 10 guy. Jalen Turner had no business going up in his UFC debut going up 15 pounds. He actually said on an interview that he walks around at 170, 175. So he basically fought Luque at his walk-around weight in his UFC debut and threw a couple good punches and kicks, and Luque just decided, you know what, I'm going to turn it on and just obviously knocked him out and knocked him clean. And the only issue with that fight is it was in October. So you're talking about, 5 months ago, he was knocked out clean. But CG, what do you think about this one?
Yeah, that knockout was devastating. But I think Turner does definitely have the edge in this fight. Kalen Porter lost 7 times, was finished in all 7 fights that he lost. I think he was knocked out 3 times. You look at Jalen Turner's record, it's 7-4, but he's got 6 KOs. He's a very tactical striker, rangy, powerful. I see Turner scoring a knockout, and I think his ITD number supports that. I think he's minus 170 in the distance. Yeah,
I bet it at minus 160, but yeah, 170 sounds right.
Yeah, I like Turner. Wins by KO minus 149. So I like that in a parlay.
Yeah, I do like Turner a lot. And again, the thing with Potter, I like Turner because again, he's 23 years old.
Right.
So when you look at a guy who's 7-4, his 4 losses are to Luque, who, in my opinion, is a stud at 170. Plus, it's a weight up. Yeah. If you look at Turner, the only issue I have with Turner, if you watch his Dana White Tuesday Night Contender Series fight, he hurt his opponent early. I don't have the name in front of me. My notes are to the side. He hurt his opponent early and then kind of got punched in the face 4 or 5 times before he was able to get the finish. And it actually went to the end of round 1, and they canceled the fight, threw in the towel at the end of round 1. The doctor basically stopped the fight at the end of round 1. But he kind of drops his hands. And the only thing is Kalen Potter's striking is so slow. I just don't think that he's going to be able to do much of anything. Now, if Potter gets Jalen Turner down to the ground, he's got an opportunity to kind of make it go to another round. But in terms of a knockout, I think Jalen Turner can use his size, reach, and strength advantage. Again, he's 23 years old, so I have no problem with Jalen Turner. And Ty's girl, Montana De La Rosa, I have no problem with her either. I love busting his balls.
Turner's 23, but he's been KO'd 3 times.
Yikes. Yeah, it is a concern, but again, he's getting KO'd at what age? You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think he's going to get KO'd by Potter, but I'm just saying he's got to watch that shit. He's too young to be absorbing that fucking damage.
But it's to his own detriment because again, he's going into the ring with Vicente Luque at 23 years old, 15 pounds up. I mean, what do you think is going to happen?
Right. Yeah.
You know what I mean? It doesn't make sense to even take that fight, but he's trying to do the UFC a solid. Yeah. And I think the UFC is trying to do him a solid with this fight. Plus, this guy Potter's coming in on 2 weeks' notice.
Yeah, Gorgie's pulled out of the fight last minute, and Potter is he's a local fan favorite, and he's gonna have the fans behind him. He's a hometown guy, and I not even just Australia. I think he's from the actual town where this fight is happening at, and he's going to have a lot of fans behind him. Turner's not going to have a lot of time to prepare for him. I expect Turner to win, but I'm just saying that there's a lot of stuff that's pointing in the direction that he could potentially get an upset here. And because I really don't think Turner's that good. But I mean, by rights on paper he should win this fight. There's just a lot of stuff that is going against him. That's for Potter here.
Listen, if Potter can get into the clinch and can get a takedown, I'm going to be very, very concerned.
Yeah, he's just one of those scrappy guys that could hang around in fights, and on home soil, I think that's dangerous. But that being said, I'm probably going to bet on Turner.
Well, with that being said, too, he's 17-7, as CG said before, and I'm pretty sure all 7 fights that he lost and got knocked out on were on home soil.
Well, no, he got knocked out in 3 of them. The other ones were submissions.
And again, with the submissions, those are the only fighters that we even know their names.
Yeah. Fair.
That's just, I mean, I'm just saying listen, I parlayed all these guys because I feel like this card is just cut and dry.
Turner should win the fight. I'm just saying that, I'm just giving kind of a devil's advocate type of.
He's got a pretty nice DraftKings price too there, CG. I don't know. You may want to play him.
He does. Yeah.
But you know what? Some of these
already.
CG, some of these people may want to subscribe to the Quan Edge. Use promo code UFC or promo code Brews. We actually have 2 different promo codes. CG, anything else you're working on now? You talked to LaRa. LaRa actually did the show a couple weeks ago. I don't know if you saw that.
I saw that, dude. No, man, I'm just trying to weather the storm with these kids. And to be honest, man, as you could probably tell, I'm not as knowledgeable as I have been. Haven't had the time to research, watch a lot of these fights. I like a couple underdogs on this card, primarily Gastelum and Alvey. So it's making my lineup construction very easy. But I have one more question for you guys. Is Adesanya going to finish Anderson Silva?
Ty, I'm going to leave that one to you because honestly, after what CG said before and he gave us his parlay, I basically said that I don't know which one of these counter strikers is going to lead the dance. I assume Adesanya is, but I feel like this could be kind of like one of those legacy fights where they don't want to really strike with each other and knock each other out. They just want to go 3 rounds, and hopefully Adesanya gets the decision win.
Well, initially I thought they were just going to try to point fight. When I first thought about this fight, I thought it was going to be a point fight type fight. Going to grind it to a decision. Adesanya is going to pick him apart. But the more that I think about it, and I see Adesanya in interviews talking about how he's looked up to him and he wants to really put it on him, I kind of think that Adesanya is going to come out aggressive, and I wouldn't be surprised if he tries to finish him early, which on the same token that he could end up getting caught if he's overly aggressive.
I was going to say that plays into Silva's hand.
And that's why I think that this fight's not really going to go to a decision, because I think that Adesanya is going to come out aggressive. He's either going to put on the pace where he's going to put it on Silva and finish him, or he's going to get caught doing that. And, I think that Adesanya is going to overwhelm him, but, that's just kind of my opinion on the fight, how I think it would go.
Let's not forget that less than a year ago, Adesanya barely squeaked by Marvin Vettori with a split decision win. Went 5 rounds with Brad Tavares. Couldn't finish him. Finished Derek Brunson, but Brunson's been knocked out 5 times. I do not foresee Adesanya knocking out Anderson Silva, and I want to say his ITD line is -148. So, like I said, I like Adesanya to win, but I like that line with him winning by decision. So I think that would be a good bet.
And again, I'm repeating what I've already said, but again, these are both counter strikers.
Mm-hmm.
So one of them is going to have to come out of character. So from what Ty's saying, he thinks Adesanya is going to come out of character, which again, we haven't seen that just yet. But when you're standing in the cage across from one of the greatest of all time, Derek Brunson kind of came out of character and didn't charge the cage and tried to fight a point fight and wound up losing the fight. Take it for what it's worth. But again, why did Adesanya knock Brunson out? Brunson ran across the cage like a moron.
With his chin out like he always does.
Which is what he did against Whittaker, right? When Whittaker knocked him out.
Well,
so if he's going to do that, he's going to get knocked out. I mean, I don't know what else to tell you.
I mean, I don't think that Adesanya is going to run across the cage reckless like Derek Brunson.
No, I don't think so either. But
I think that he is going to be somewhat aggressive. And aggressive for him might not be the same as Derek Brunson's style. I just think that he's going to try to make his impact and thrust his name into the title picture using Anderson Silva as a stepping stone. Because a win over Anderson Silva, even at this point in his career, is still a huge win. And if Adesanya comes out and just knocks him out in the first round, now he's being talked about as next in line for a title shot.
Yeah, and I think that's why it's on the same card, right? So that if both of these guys, whoever wins the main event, and if Adesanya wins this one, they just schedule it.
Yeah. And I think that if he knocks him out in the first round or has a really impressive performance, it does a lot more to put him in there. And so I kind of think that Adesanya is going to come out of character just a little bit and try to really, really finish this fight and be impressive.
All right, so I mean, I think that's basically it. CG, you have an open invitation. Anytime you want to come on Brews and Bets between the three of us, it kind of breaks the tie. Ty and I disagree often, so you're the third wheel here if you want to break the tie. So whenever the kids, I guess, cooperate. Oh, he popped that open
great,
right
man.
away.
Hey, she's watching the baby in the next room. I have to take advantage of this. Jeez.
I mean, it is Brews and Bets, and I know you're a big fan of the Brews. So
I am. Yeah, no, I had a lot of fun. I appreciate you guys having me on, and I'm hoping to hit that 5-fight parlay. And I'm going to add a couple with your bets. You talked me into De La Rosa. You talked me into Turner, Smith. So yeah, no, I appreciate it. Good insight.
If you're gonna add De La Rosa though, get that Gastelum hedge on the knockout though.
You never know. You may want to hedge. And CG, I'll send you. We're gonna do the Quan Edge tomorrow night, and I'll definitely send it to you. Ty, you got anything else you're working on? I know you're doing your odds.
Yeah, so I got hired on to be the odds maker for my prize picks. We're starting to do mixed martial arts over there. Check it out. Use the code Brews. You get a $50 free play and 100% deposit bonus. And especially if you don't agree with my projections, I mean, it's free money to be had.
It depends on what you put De La Rosa at. Then I'll let you know. All right, I'm going to sign us off so we can finish our beers.
All righty.